I'm really excited for this segment. We're doing a back to school, and the reason why I'm excited is because I love learning from punters, form analysts about how they do form, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So the question is, I'll start off with Benny. Obviously, you're on racing.com, a presenter there, but you're one of the main form analysts. I want to know how you approach a meeting. Say Flemington next week, you've got Oz Cup Day.
Yep.
How will you approach that meeting?
Yeah, so at the moment where I'm at is I'm trying to juggle form with everything that's going on at home. So I've got a new baby, 3 kids, etc. So I have a probably unique approach to a lot of form analysts in that with work commitments, I'll put a lot of work into the meeting I'm doing, but it's probably a hard time for me to have sort of a database that I'm updating constantly and reviewing a lot of meetings. So it means I have to spend more time on the individual meeting I'm doing, but I try and treat each horse at the meeting like a blank canvas and not go in with too many premeditated ideas. So I'll do my speed map for each race, go to each horse, write my notes on each horse. I've got, form database I use like punting form. I know there's other really good ones out there, whether they're, a lot of people using Form King, etc. at the moment, but I'm using punting form. I'll have a look through the numbers of each horse in the race, and I'll watch replays, and then I'll sort of at the end of it all have a rough market of what I think the horses should be. Hopefully I've got around to doing the form before the markets come up, and then I'll let the market price influence my prices, because I do like to respect what the market is, and if there's horses I think are over the odds, I'll back them.
Yep, I like that, Benny, and just because I've worked with you in the past, and I know that when we have discussions, we talk about where you potentially put most of your focus. Is it more on the replay side of things, or are you looking more at the speed maps?
I like to build a profile on a horse. It's so different. I like to treat every race like a blank canvas, every horse differently. So everything's different. It's not sort of one thing or another. So what might work for one race for me is something different for another race. So a horse's profile is probably something that I like to forgive horses a run where I think they've had genuine excuses. Sometimes I think the market can be really heavily swung towards last start performances. So I think there can be some value to be found in forgiving a horse a run where they had a reason to forgive them. So yeah.
Also a good opportunity to lay if the market's potentially gravitating to something that is focused on their last start performance or whatever it is. But Clance, are you a little bit different? How do you approach form?
That's such a fascinating conversation in itself, right? Because if, for example, as we were talking about earlier, Just Fine was 255 versus Lindemann even money last week. If Just Fine had come out with EIPH on occasion or some form of lameness, or any of those sort of really big issues, you can easily forgive that, strike a line through it, go back to prior ratings and mark it 250.
You just wanted to see a good run and start prior though, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly right. Whereas now there was no real excuse out of that run, and so now you're sitting there going, well, okay, we'll take on that in the early market. Sometimes you get it wrong. Sometimes the market does firm from there and you go, okay, I got it wrong, that's fine. But if you're consistent in your approach every time, generally you'll end up in the long run being in front. The way I approach form is a delicate blend of subjective and objective tools. So for Saturday's race meeting, your noms come out Monday, your acceptances come out Wednesday. Tuesday night, I'll try and do all of my subjective work early. So I'll do the race replays and I'll do all the videos so that by the time the fields come through on a Wednesday, and I use a software called GTX. So once the fields come through there, that's a very objective ratings-based software where they don't take into account luck in running. They don't take into account tempo. They just have raw data. And so I like to overlay the subjective video sort of stuff from the previous night and then get the objective in, and the objective numbers sit there, and I go and fiddle with those to come up with my ratings for each runner in each race. And then hopefully, as Ben said, it's never usually goes this cleanly, but hopefully by the time the markets come out, you've already got yours ready to go and you can play from there. That's why you see so many fast early moves, because there's a lot of differing opinions when those markets come out on a Wednesday, and that's the fun of it, right? Sometimes you take overs, sometimes you take unders, and Sometimes you back a winner and sometimes you back a loser.
Do you know how I do my form? I just put my ear pods in before I go to sleep, and I just listen to the dulcet tones of Ben Asghari and Liam Clancy.
Does that mean you listen to yourself as well?
No,
Given you're in here with us,
definitely not the the Punters Show is one I definitely listen to as well. So very, very interesting, and I like to take opinions. I love reading all the content on Betfair. I love reading the content on Racing.com. I think a really great piece was one that Brent Zarafa put out about how the whole map will work out for the Willie Reed on the weekend. And I love understanding the different opinions, and it's why the great game is so good, and why, as we were speaking about before, as many opinions as possible in the game is awesome. I love the ones being against the horse as opposed to being for the horse. And I think it's a key part about doing form is obviously listening to the people around you, but at the same time, you probably got to back yourself in, right?
Yeah, you do. You just try not. I do consume a lot of racing content. I'm quite a bit of a racing nuffy, but I like to more have done my form and have my own opinions, and then I'll just be interested in what people want to know after. It's not really going to sway my opinion, but I just am interested in what they have to say. I like the review content as well. There's lots of different offerings out there. And, there's a lot of smart minds out there, and people are going to pick up things that you miss too. So it can be helpful.
Sorry, go on, Clance.
I was just going to say, like, some of the smartest punters in not only the country but the world, some of their major tools that they use is the market, right? So if you're heavily against the market, to a degree, you're wrong, right? Like you need to temper your expectations and come back towards. When I say the market, I mean at jump time, because everything's gone in by that stage. And if you've marked something $5 and it's $5 on a Wednesday, and you think, oh, I got it right, but it's $2 by jump time on the weekend, you got it wrong. Like it's probably a 250 shot or a 240 shot or something like that. So that's very, very important to notice. But as Ben said, like on a Wednesday, if I've got everything done by Wednesday night for Saturday, then I'll consume, Gator on a Thursday. I'll see Benny's ratings on the Melbourne meeting come through on a Wednesday evening, and you compare. You go, oh, well, that gives me slightly more confidence because someone who specialises in that field agrees.
Yep.
Or, not even in the top 4 numbers. I wonder, you go through their notes and you say, oh, got a place chance or whatever like that. And you start to take all that in, and it's exciting. And then you do the Sunday review and you get a bit of everything.
So last question before we move on, but is there an analyst or a pro punter that you listen to, a voice that you like to, help dissect a race or whatever it is in the media now?
Oh, there's no standout. There's so many good ones out there. There are so many really good analysts. I always thought the standout was Dean Lester. There's so many guys out there who can win, long term. I think what separated Dino for everyone was he just saw things that others didn't, just in the sport itself, and he was able to just understand the sport itself, I think, better than just about anyone. So he was always a standout for me. But there's lots of very good analysts and punters out there.
100%, guys. Good chat. I really enjoyed that one. Love learning from you guys.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.